Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap. I hope all of you guys had a wonderful day. My day was all right. This is episode 50. We are halfway to 100. That's pretty cool in my opinion. We've done 50 of these episodes so far. Tried to make it between, having a video every single day. Of course, we've missed a few days in between, but we got there in the end. So, round of applause. If you've watched everyone, thank you so much, truly. And even if you've only watched a few, thank you so much, truly. It really means the world to me. I appreciate all forms of support on all of these videos. I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you, truly. But yeah, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. We got a lot of news to cover, so let's get started. For the segments today, we have two segments. We have a Trump administration segment with 4 topics. Yep, 4 topics. And then we have an other news segment with 4 topics as well. So 8 topics total. But yeah, let's open up with the Trump administration segment per usual. For the Trump administration segment today, we have the Trump tells the FBI to deprioritize white-collar crime. RFK Jr. swam in a water with a dangerous bacteria. Trump has barred several journalists from Air Force One. And it's not just a plane, but it's a golf course too. That is a segment on Trump's gift from Qatar. Trump tells the FBI to deprioritize white-collar crime. The FBI has ordered agents to devote more time to immigrants rather than white-collar crime, according to Reuters. In a series of meetings, FBI agents were told by their field offices that they would start devoting about 1/3 of their time to helping the Trump administration crack down on illegal immigration. They were told to prioritize these cases at least for a remainder of the 2025 year. So what are these white-collar crimes? These crimes are considered nonviolent offenses, which are often committed by professionals or businesses. To be more specific, these crimes involve deception or concealment for financial gain. Things like fraud, bribery, embezzlement, all the things that the rich get away with for personal gain. Even insider trading falls under this category, and I'm sure many politicians on both sides are very happy about that one. Truly, I hate rich people. I mean, of course, the people in charge with all the money would push for this to get done. Tax the rich and remove anyone from office who commits these crimes, because anyone who is actively working against the American people and working to allow things like fraud, bribery, embezzlement, insider trading are not fit for government positions. Anyone who does that themselves is not fit for a government position, because they are actively detrimental to the American people, and they actively negatively impact the American people, and puts not only these politicians who take advantage of it, but these companies who take advantage of it ahead of essentially everyone else, which isn't okay, especially for politicians. You guys work to serve the American people. Your first interest should be serving the American people rather than serving yourself and putting money in your own pockets. Moving on, RFK Jr. has swam in water with dangerous bacteria. Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Kennedy Jr. or Robert F. Kennedy Jr. posted photos of him and his family swimming in the water known to be contaminated during Mother's Day hike in Rock Creek Park. I don't know why that was such a struggle for me to get out. In Washington, D.C. In one of the photos, RFK Jr. is seen fully submerged in the water and with his grandchildren swimming, in spite of the National Park Service advisory against coming in contact with the water due to high bacteria levels. The advisory states, "Stay out of the water to protect stream banks, plants, and animals, and keep you and your family, including pets, safe from illness. Rock Creek has high levels of bacteria and other infectious pathogens that make swimming, wading, and other contact with the water a hazard to human and pet health. Swimming has been banned in the creeks and other nearby waters since 1971, when RFK would have been about his teenage years, as I believe he was born in 1950, around there." I feel bad for his family. I've never been there, but if this is common knowledge for locals, why would you even do it? RFK Jr. seriously has some issues. I mean, it's bad, bad, bad. Um, Watch if he says anything about it, it's going to be something like bacteria isn't bad for you. Granted, not all bacteria is bad for you, but a majority is because it gets you sick. But there are some good bacteria, of course. I guarantee you, when he tries to justify and has to make his statement on this, or he doesn't and just completely ignores it, it's going to be something wild and probably scientifically incorrect. Moving on, Trump has barred just several journalists from. I hate when I get notification. I really gotta like. This is like an interruption, but I really gotta start putting my phone in Do Not Disturb because I get a notification while I'm reading like the topic, right? Um, and then it covers up what I'm reading, so it just throws me off completely. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. Trump has barred several journalists from Air Force One. Reporters were barred from traveling with the president on Air Force One to the Middle East, according to the group representing White House journalists. Reporters from No reporters from AP, Bloomberg, or Reuters were on the plane, the White House Correspondents Association said in a statement. This change is a disservice to every American who deserves to know what their highest elected leader is up to as quickly as possible. Officials have declined to make a comment. Of course, the Trump administration has already attacked freedom of speech and press on multiple times, so this isn't shocking. My question is, when is it going to stop? This will probably be another lawsuit that Trump will likely lose. Then in a few weeks, they will be allowed again. But until Trump does something again, I mean, nothing stops him from just doing it again. And then for another few weeks, they just won't be allowed in these areas. How many attacks is it going to take on the core values of our nation until he is removed from office completely? It shouldn't be that hard to do so, truly. I mean, if you are going to attack the core values of the United States again and again and again, you shouldn't be in office because clearly you are unfit to be the president of the United States. Moving on, we have the most interesting thing from the Trump administration today, as it's not just a plane, but it's a golf course too. This is about Trump's gift from Qatar. It's not just a $400 million jet, but it is a whole investment for the Trump family business, as ties between the family and the Middle East have reportedly tripled since Trump's first term, according to CNN. A few weeks ago, the Trump family company struck a deal to build a luxury golf resort in Qatar. This project features Trump-branded beachside villas and an 18-hole course built by the Saudi Arabian company. When asked about it, Trump's son Eric, who is in charge of the business, said, "We are incredibly proud to expand the Trump brand into Qatar through this exceptional collaboration with Qatari DR and Dar Global. But it's not just Qatari DR, which is run by the Qatari government, as it plans to help the Trump company develop a resort north of Qatar's capital, Doha." So a plane, a resort, and a golf course. Wow. Don't you guys just love when the president uses his influence for personal gain? This is crazy. And the fact that it wasn't really picked up is also crazy. But that's the struggle of the 24 news cycle. It just goes so fast. This is probably, very likely, illegal, and Trump will probably use a loophole to get out of it. But, I mean, what are you going to do about it, I guess? The rich get richer. And unfortunately, no one in the government currently is going to do anything about it. And, it brings me faith to see a bunch of people on TikTok who are similar to me who want to bring that reform to the government, over the next few elections and over the next few years. Moving on to the other news segment, we have 4 topics to cover today. As Hassan Piker, the famous streamer, has been detained by U.S. officials. Florida's Highway Patrol can now enforce immigration. Republicans want to create MAGA accounts for kids, and Judge Dugan has been indicted. Hassan Piker has been detained by U.S. officials. Popular streamer Hassan Piker was detained for hours by U.S. airport officials because of his political views, Piker said When he returned to Chicago from France, he was detained by officials where he was brought to a room and questioned. In the video he made on the situation, he laid out what happened and even said it was very obvious they knew who I was. U.S. official Tristan McLaughlin accused Piker of lying for likes. Piker questioned that response as he was asked on his views of Trump and other worldwide situations. Piker accused the government of attempting to create an environment of fear, my apologies, in an effort to silence critics. This is crazy. Of course, some famous people have been detained to some degree already, but this is definitely one of the most interesting ones and arguably one of the most famous ones. Hassan is known for video games, but he also does cover news and drama topics, which have largely led to a lot of his popularity in recent months. He has made it very clear that he doesn't like Trump and, of course, a bunch of other things. And this is just clear that nobody is safe, no matter who you are. It's very likely that many people without his voice, who do have some space on the internet, have unfortunately experienced the same and likely less positive fates because of it. Moving on, the Florida Highway Patrol can now enforce immigration. Florida's Governor, Ron DeSantis, has announced that the Florida Highway Patrol will conduct immigration operations independent of the Trump administration. DeSantis is standing with FHP officers and federal agents in Tampa called this the nation's first program of its kind. DeSantis said that at the news conference, what we have now with the FHP is that they can conduct immigration operations wholly independently of the federal government, and that there is no one else in the country where they are doing that. He added that troopers can do everything an immigration officer would do up until the point of being processed for removal. This is crazy. DeSantis has essentially made his own ICE for Florida specifically. That's crazy, for one. And for two, I didn't even think of that as a possibility. This essentially gives Trump not only more agents to work with, but gets the state of Florida their own Gestapo, really. ICE kind of just picks people up off the street and puts them into a van, so that's really what it is. You're just disappearing people. These raids and deportations need to stop as soon as possible because they do more harm than good, and the refusal to see that by many is truly disappointing. Moving on, Republicans want to create a MAGA account for kids. The MAGA account, which is short for Money Account for Growth and Advancement, is a plan of a broader legislative package dubbed the One Big Beautiful Bill, introduced to Congress this month. These accounts would be created for children born in the United States and started with $1,000 deposit from federal funds. To be eligible, children must be U.S. citizens at birth and have a social security number and be born after December 31st, 2024 and prior to January 1st, 2029. These accounts are listed as exempt from taxation in the bill. If this wasn't just an excuse to put MAGA on everything, this, in my opinion at least, wouldn't be too bad. Sure, $1,000 isn't a lot, but it still can be very helpful to start with, especially paying for things like books or classes or all the things for college. I don't think it's the worst to help set up kids with some government savings to not only help stabilize themselves when they exit high school, but really help them pay for what they need to going into adulthood. I don't approve of calling it MAGA, nor do I approve in many other things in this bill, but this, in my opinion at least, really isn't one of the good things, or really is one of the better things, from this bill. And maybe there's something I'm missing on it. Maybe I'm wrong. So if anyone wants to correct me on that, please do. But I don't think it's the worst thing to provide children with opportunity, to say the least. Because this is, if it is invested properly, it'll be maybe not more than $1,000, but it could be doubled in a term of 18 years, at the very least. And $2,000, although it's not a lot of money, I'll say that much. it's not bad. It really isn't. And it genuinely, genuinely could help a lot of people, not only getting themselves situated in the adult world, but I mean, in general. I mean, I would be grateful to have 2,000 extra dollars, just given to me. And that's also what things are like scholarships are for. But people going into trades don't have scholarships all the time, and these are or people going into other jobs. So I mean, in my opinion, at least, I think this would be very beneficial to people coming into the adult world. Moving on to the final topic for today, Judge Hannah Dugan has been indicted. A federal grand jury has indicted Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan on May Tuesday on charges that she tried to assist in the undocumented immigrant escape arrest from her courtroom. The indictment accuses of Dugan obstructing a U.S. agency and concealing an individual to prevent arrest. The two charges carry a maximum penalty of 6 years and $350,000 fine. Dugan is expected to make her plea on May 15th. If Dugan is imprisoned, so many things could happen and change. This would essentially be the Trump administration imprisoning a judge, and if they do it once, what stops them from doing it again and again? This cannot be allowed in any circumstances because it will be not only dangerous, but have very many impacts on the American judicial system. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you're on YouTube, please feel free to drop a subscribe. I appreciate it. All forms of support on my content. Drop a like, drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the video. We're on our way to 500 subscribers on YouTube, so hopefully we can get there soon. If you're on Substack, please consider pledging your support. All funds go to me to help me pay for the things that I'll need to pay for in my day-to-day life as I'm going into college. And, these take a lot of time, and it's about the time length of a part-time job. So I appreciate all forms of support. Also, feel free to check me out on Blue Sky. It's where you get these notifications for these things being posted, as there are nightly news podcasts. But, Blue Stack is where I not only announce these being uploaded, but also post a little bit of random bits and, things, But yeah, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching episode 50. We made it to 50. We're going to get to 100 next. And I will see you all in tomorrow's episode. Later.